Alrighty, welcome into the Scoop for USCScoop.com. I'm Blake Atwell here with Marc Kulkin, and we are coming to you live from the Founders Club here at USC. As you can see, great logo in the back. Right after the Trojans demolished Stanford,
following a nice
45-20. True freshman Kedon Slovis, his first start as a Trojan, 377 yards, completed on almost 85% of his passes. Yes, 3 touchdowns. What do you make of how Kedon played?
You know, Scott and I have been watching him since we actually saw him last year in high school play. And you could see the coaching that he received from Kurt Warner. And tonight he steps out on the field and he shows no fear. And we talked about it, earlier in the week. Stay away from Paulson Adebo. What does he do? He comes out there and he challenges the guy. Now he got lucky, the ball got through, but bottom line is the young man shows no fear. And the team rallied behind him, and it was really a pleasure to watch tonight.
Trojans are down 17-3, and then something switched. And the 2018 version of USC probably would have built some momentum into halftime and then fizzled out. This was different.
Yeah, last year's team, they would have folded like a cheap rug. Something, like you said, something clicked, and they found that fight on spirit. It was amazing. And it kept snowballing. It was on all 3 aspects of the team, from special teams, blocking field goals, the offense, the running the ball, throwing the ball, the defense making plays. Greg Johnson with that great interception when they really needed it. So this team still has a lot to prove. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but that was a very satisfying victory and there's a lot of positives to take from it.
Well, and it's interesting because if you look at the running attack, right, in the first quarter when the air raid didn't look to be as free-flowing and quick-hitting as it did in week 1 when JT was in there, the end of the first quarter, Stephen Carr and Vimel Pei combined for 7 rushing yards.
Right.
Then the rest of the game, they both finished, both over 30 and 40 yards rushing. Marquis Stepp got in there and finished over 30 yards rushing. So it's interesting how the air raid kind of opened up the running attack at the same time.
And that's the philosophy of this offense. That's what we've been talking about since Graham Harrell got here. The pass will set up the run. And we saw that today. I mean, they could not have done a better job at it. And the best part about it, as you mentioned, the fourth quarter at the end of the game, you bring in Marquis Stepp. Stanford's tired, and he was just running through arm tackles. So this is what this offense can be. It's still growing. Plenty of room for improvement. But, let's take this victory, build off of it, and see where the team can go, because this is who we are going forward. We've got a true freshman quarterback, Kedon Slovis, but the moment's not too big for him. And like I said, the team's rallying around him. So, now they get back to work this week. We head off to BYU, and they happen to travel up to Rocky Top this weekend and, go in there and knock off Tennessee.
Right.
So some were considering this might be the easiest game of their first 4. Turns out it might not be. Let's just take it one game at a time and see where this team goes.
And before we touch on some of the games in the coming weeks for the Trojans, BYU, Utah, Washington, Notre Dame. Before we get to that, I also want to touch on the Amon-Ra St. Brown Kedon Slovis connection, because it's interesting because this week at practice, Amon-Ra talked about how he felt he kind of had the same level of confidence in Kedon as he did with JT. That says a lot. Obviously, Amon-Ra playing with JT for years in modern day in high school. So to be playing with this kid in the spring and now, into fall camp and now, into the season, now that Kedon, not the ideal circumstance for his number to be called with JT going down to an injury, but Kedon is in there. And they were just super in sync from the very start of the game.
And the best part about that, not only were those 2 in sync, but Kedon spread the ball around to
7 different receivers.
8 different receivers, and Pittman finally got into
7 until Pittman, and then 3 straight to Pittman.
And we got to see a glimpse of Drake Jackson. I mean, he opened up the game with a big play.
Right.
So, like you said, there's a lot to go with this. Slovis, 7 different receivers, the running game got going, but it was the types of throws that he started making as the game progressed. I'm still looking at that back shoulder throw that he threw to Pittman on the sideline that just went by the defender's ear hole. That's not a freshman throw. That's an NFL throw. So again, that's the type of thing, that's a confidence builder. I'm going to ramble a little bit, but after the game, and you can bring me back in where we want to go with this, watching the team immediately when that final whistle blew, run over the student section. We haven't seen that in a long time. So the point I'm trying to make here, this team has found their energy. They're excited. They're having fun. We haven't seen that in a while.
Well, and speaking of that excitement and what we haven't seen in a while, Elijah Griffin is a kid that just blew everybody away in fall camp.
Yeah.
And he's been unreal. And today, you know, another big step forward for him, right? One of the things he was doing is he's hyping up the student section in between plays.
Yep.
He's getting the sidelines jazzed. And then he's going out there and he's backing it up with his play. What can you say about the way Elijah Griffin looked today?
Well, not only is he doing all those things, but he's playing bigger than his size. He was out there on an island against Colby Parkinson, and I described him as a pain-in-the-butt guy to try and cover. But he's out there one-on-one with a guy holding his own. And don't think other future opponents aren't watching this, as well as his teammates. They see this. And that's the type of stuff that if he can do it, I can do it. Watch me do it because he did it.
Right.
Momentum is a hard thing to stop. And if the Trojans get that momentum, let's see where it goes.
Speaking of momentum and future opponents, let's get into BYU next week. I don't know that there really is a tougher first road game you can have other than maybe at Utah, right? Just
Altitude.
kind of the altitude, that environment. What are your thoughts about what the Trojans need to do to replicate this
Well,
in BYU?
we saw a little bit of it again tonight in the first half. The Trojans are still having trouble tackling that quarterback that gets out of the pocket. Tonight, they were much better than they were against Fresno State, but that is a challenge they're going to have in Provo. Zach Wilson, he's not the strongest thrower, but he's elusive, he's mobile, and he will make plays out of broken plays. So if the defense can, like they did in the second half, contain the edge, force everything into the middle, I think they'll come away with the win. But again, first game on the road, this will be the freshman's first time on the road starting. So it'll be interesting to see, do we come out aggressive? Do we try and ease them in? I don't know. I kind of like Harrell's attitudes. Just go for it.
Let it loose.
Let it loose. Go for it. What do they got to lose? You know, players rally around that. You know, you always hear people talk about, you know, your reflection of the coach. Well, we won't get into, you know, the different feelings about our coaching staff, but you can see the team is rallying around each other right now. So that's a good first step. Where that leads, we don't know, but it's a fun ride right now. So, you know.
Most definitely. Well, the Trojans just won by double digits, 20 plus points.
45 to 20.
Yep, 45.
When was the last time the Trojans held a team scoreless in the second half?
Beyond me. When is the last time that they went into halftime with momentum and then continued and finished the game strong? And Matt Fink was able to get in the game. If you would have told people the second after that JT injury happened that a week from, you know, the 31st against Fresno State, that SC would be up by 25 points and they'd be
Matt
subbing
Fink
in
is
Matt
taking the
Fink.
victory formation.
Taking the victory formation, and Kedon is leading the Trojan marching band with the sword. To see a true freshman doing that, it's unreal. So that is it for us at The Scoop. I'm Blake Atwell here from USCScoop.com with Marc Kulkin, and stay tuned for more great content throughout the season.
Right on.